And what I thought going into the weekend, and I think you did as well, was the game of the weekend, and that was the Buffalo Bills against the Miami Dolphins. Both teams have been playing well. The Bills were 2-1. They had lost. I don't even know how to even put it in perspective how they lost to the Jets the night that Aaron Rodgers got hurt, but they have been terrific since then.
It's called turnovers. You remember that? Ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
4
right.
turnovers.
But,
right.
How they even let that happen?
No, I know.
But they
it was
did.
awful. It was terrible.
And then Miami, of course, put a big fat 70 on on Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. Rob, that's like scoring. You know what? I mean, I guess the difference is that 70 wasn't quite the record. 73 is the record. But I really feel, Rob, that is kind of like the equivalent of if an NBA team gave up 200 points.
I mean, the score is so ridiculous in the NFL. Absolutely. It's one of that number, most people just looked at it and couldn't believe. 70 points in an NFL game. It's hard to do. That's hard to do.
Absolutely ridiculous. But that's what Miami did to Denver. And they played Sunday, Rob, and we all thought, no matter who you were picking, that it'd be a good game. And Buffalo blew the doors.
Who did you pick? I forget.
Miami. I picked Miami.
Did you?
I thought Miami would win. You know, because, Rob, remember, they had matched up.
Buffalo.
You picked Buffalo. They matched up well with Buffalo last year. They beat them with Tua. They lost again in the regular season. So they split the regular season. And then you remember the playoffs, they had their third-string quarterback, Skylar Thompson, in Miami, and they almost beat Buffalo.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, you know what, they got a little something,
Maybe they got their number a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously they've been playing well. But anyway, give credit to the Bills, Rod, because they spanked
put a butt whooping.
I mean, right, 48-20. Both of our picks were to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC. We both picked Baltimore. I feel good about that. I'm sure you do. They're 3-1. Lamar feels like he's getting more and more comfortable and better every week.
Who did they lose to? Because they should be 4-0. They had a stinker.
They gave away a game. Remember the Indianapolis?
Right. I mean, that team. That's why I like them. I know they're my Super Bowl pick to go, but they should be 4-0.
They should be 4-0. And look, I think they'll be fine. But that, you hate to give away games like that. Right?
It happens. I know. Nobody's going undefeated, right? Yeah. Exactly. No one's really going undefeated.
And most of the elite teams, when they lose to a lesser team. Right?
It's crazy
it
like
just
that.
Is what it is.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just the ability, the overall talent in the NFL. All these guys, we say it a lot. All these guys are great. And
they're all getting paid and out there to win. And even bad teams. The Bears came out yesterday, Chris, and looked like hell, world beating.
I don't know if that. I'm gonna say I think that's because that's how bad Denver is.
Right.
No,
it could
but
be.
But still, I mean, good for Justin Fields.
But Fields started 14 for 14. Was it more than that?
And threw 4 touchdowns.
I think
he was great.
I know he started.
He did struggle at the end with the fumble for a touchdown, and but overall, big game from him. But anyway, here's what I want to throw at you, Rob. We both got Baltimore ultimately in the AFC, but I would say right now, after the first month of play, I don't think there's any question that right now Buffalo has been playing the best football in the AFC.
I don't doubt that either. I mean, they've won their last 3 games by a combined score of 90 points. I mean, defense rest. I mean,
but pretty good teams. I mean, Washington was playing well.
Washington was playing great. Yeah, no. So yeah, Chris. I mean, when you start talking about that and winning at those kind of margins and doing what they did, and you kind of knew. This is why I didn't pick Miami. When you score 70, Chris, the football gods are going to even it out. I just thought there's no way they're going to have another big offensive showing. And then they're on the road. It was their 3rd road game. They're trying to go 3 for 3 on the road in the NFL to start the season. That's hard. There's a lot of things.
And Tua had an interesting clip. I don't know if you heard it. Rob G, if we could get it quickly, let me know. Did you hear his clip, Rob?
No. What did he
was
say?
Like, he said it was good for us because basically it seemed like he was calling out some teammates, or I don't know if he's calling out the media or who, But he was like, some guys were thinking we were better than we are. Rob G, did you hear that? See, yeah, because it was, and he said it, he didn't say it, Rob, in a way like, we had dudes that, we needed that. We start thinking, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. I mean, he didn't say it in a mean way. He said it really smiling and soft-spoken, but it did feel like a call-out because it's like, well, who you talking about, And that's how I think, Rob, that is how you have to look at things like this, right? You have to,
you gotta
say,
be able to,
right. This could be good for you. I mean, like you said, after you score 70, you probably feeling yourself a little bit, right?
But you also realize what happens and how it goes in the NFL. Like, it'll be easy to go like, oh yeah, we're gonna win all these games and we're unstoppable, but it's just not the case, No. And you could quickly be knocked down a peg. Josh Allen, he's Chris in his last 8 passing touchdowns, just 1 interception,
2 running ones,
right, and 2 rushing touchdowns, and completion rate 77%. Almost 8 out of 10 passes are being completed. I mean,
to me, you
can't play better than that. And the big thing is what? The turnovers.
Right, that's the key for him.
We know he can play.
Yep, that's it. I mean, if he will just stop playing so reckless.
Right.
Which he has these last 3 weeks. Right. He is phenomenal. And they've got more running, more of a balanced run attack the last 3 weeks. Not just Josh running, but James Cook and other guys getting some yardage on the ground. Their defense has been lights out, as you see by them holding Miami to just 20 points. And, Rob, they look tremendous. I would say, Rob, and it's early, obviously. It could change by the week, right? After 2 weeks, I thought the MVP was Micah Parsons. Right now, Rob, it might be Josh Allen. Now, I know, look, that you can't throw out the Jets game. He was horrible in that game. With 3 interceptions.
And a fumble, right?
And a fumble, right. So, I mean, if somebody wants to hold that against him, I get it. But, Rob, no quarterback. Now, Tua still got the incredible numbers. But he obviously wasn't great yesterday. And then Patrick Mahomes, has been having so far kind of a down year for him.
Yeah, I would say that.
Kirk Cousins got numbers. He's not winning,
Patrick Mahomes was the player of the game last night. And really, Chris, there was really nobody else, but he didn't play that well.
No, I mean, he made big plays at the end scrambling, But yeah, I mean, it was, there was really nobody to give it to. But, I mean, I think Josh Allen probably, again, somebody might want to argue Tua, but I think you could make a strong argument, Rob, for Josh Allen at this point to be the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, coming off the game.
Think about it. Lamar doesn't have the numbers. Jalen doesn't have the numbers. Jalen Hurts. Tua's got numbers, and they're only 3-1, so it's not like, you know what I mean? It could, if people wanted to argue him, I wouldn't, you can only say so much against him.
No, right.
I think Christian McCaffrey's having a great year, but I don't know if just because he's a running back, people will hold him.
And the problem is with running backs, you have a bad game. It wasn't that long ago that who was it with from the Titans, Chris? Derrick Henry. Yeah. What do you have, over 2,000 yards, whatever? He wasn't even close.
Right.
He got zero, Chris. Over 2,000 yards. He won the Offensive Player of the Year, but he got no MVP votes. I mean, 2,000 yards. So it's hard for me to think that, you know what I mean? That one bad day by McCaffrey, and that'll probably be it.
Yeah. But I think the Bills, Rob, have been the best team in the AFC so far. Did you get that sound, Rob G? I guess
no, he doesn't have it. But Chris, here's the problem with Buffalo. We've seen this movie before. Yeah. Okay, last year they started 6-1. We talk about it all the time. I always bring it up.
City.
Don't you remember that? And before we knew that the Rams were terrible, they blew them out, right, with their ring ceremony. Remember that? On the road. Blew out. They scored like 70-some-odd points the first 2 games. They looked like they were like unstoppable. And they were in 2020 they were 7-2, Chris. In 2019 they were 5-1. They get off to good starts. Right. This is what they do. So it's hard to feel good about them and act like, oh yeah, right. Look at what they're doing. This is what they've been doing. They can't finish it.
And I've talked. Look, my pick in the NFC was Philadelphia. In fact, that was my pick to win it all. Have they looked like the best team in the NFC? No. I think San Francisco.
Yeah. No. I mean, look at what happened yesterday. They could have lost that game.
And they're 4-0, but yeah, they've been tough games. But Rob, it's 13 games left. The key is to try to be peaking going into the playoffs. And you've got a lot of time to hone your craft and get better. And that's why I'm not worried about Philadelphia. And to be honest, Baltimore either, because I think they're going to get better as hopefully they get healthier. And you said it, Buffalo, they do this almost every year. And Rob, last year, they finished strong. They finished 7-0. They won their last 7 regular season games and then inexplicably get into the playoffs, look bad in barely beating Miami, which was banged up at quarterback.
Right.
And then they get housed at home in snow, where they should be good, theoretically, against Cincinnati. So, Rob, bottom line is this. Buffalo could go 16-1. And we are not, the odds really like them for some reason. But I think the observers will be like, you got to show me in the playoffs, right? Like, I'm going to be, look, you guys have had great regular seasons, 13 wins, 2 of the last 3 years. I've got to see it in the playoffs.
I'm with you because we've been fooled before. And I told you, I don't have the same confidence in them, so I'm with you all the way on that. They need to prove it in the postseason, and I'm still not convinced that they're going to do anything special in the postseason.